Hi guys! Today I'll show you how to make a classic pumpkin pie. This is another bake-ahead pie, just like my pecan pie recipe. This way you're not going to have to worry about oven space because there's going to be a lot of other things in there cooking already. All the ingredients and measurements are in a link right below this video. I've also put a link to a playlist for holiday recipes in case you're looking for ideas. I'll be making the pie crust and I'll show you how to do that. If you already watched my pecan pie video, you'll see the homemade crust. I'm using that same crust for this pumpkin pie recipe. First, I'll show you how to make the pie crust. If you don't want to make your own, substitute a store-bought crust. Using a food processor is the fastest way to make pie crust. Add all-purpose flour, salt, sugar, shortening, cold unsalted butter cut into small cubes like this. Pulse about 8 times until you get this crumbly mixture. You should see pieces of butter. Add ice cold water a little bit at a time and pulse until just before the dough forms into a ball. It happens very fast. It holds together nicely. Take the blade out first, then put the dough onto plastic wrap. Place the wrap over the dough and form into a disc. See the pieces of butter throughout the dough. Put this in the fridge for at least an hour. The dough can be made ahead and frozen for a few months or refrigerated for 3 days. After an hour in the refrigerator, I've taken the pie dough out. I'm going to let it sit on the counter for about 10 minutes so it's easier to roll out. Here's the 9-inch glass pie plate that I'm going to use. It's 9 inches across by 1.2 inches deep, 22.8 centimeters by 3 centimeters. This is the most common pie dish sold at most stores. To roll out the pie dough, put some flour down on your counter. This way your dough won't stick. Also put a little bit of flour on top. Now we can roll it out. Start from the center. If you find that the dough is sticking to the counter, just put a little bit more flour underneath. Give it a quarter turn. See, it rolls out easily. If your dough is very sticky, make sure to flour the rolling pin as well. If the edges crack at all, just push them together, it'll be fine. Put the pie plate upside down. The dough should be about 3 inches wider than the pie plate. We're almost there. Now you just want to take the dough and roll it on the rolling pin gently. Halfway, put the pie plate down and gently unroll the crust. And you want to pick up the dough and just tuck it in. Pick it up and just tuck it in. Use your fingers and just go around. You don't want to stretch the dough. Trim the excess dough, leaving about 1/2 inch. Tuck the dough under itself. Just make it even. You can stop right here with the crust or use the tines of a fork and press down on the edge of the dough to crimp the edges. I like a fluted edge, which is pretty and gives your pie that classic look. 2 fingers and the thumb. Push out with this finger. And here's our pie crust. Put this in the freezer for 10 minutes or refrigerate for 20 minutes. Heat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. Now we'll bake the crust. This is called blind baking. It's best to do this to avoid a soggy, undercooked crust. Cover with aluminum foil. Make sure the edges are covered. Fill it with rice, pie weights, or dried beans. Bake in the heated oven for 30 minutes. Lift up the foil and get the pie weights out. Bake the crust for another 10 minutes. During those last 10 minutes, get all the ingredients together for the filling. The filling ingredients are very simple. Pumpkin puree. You can roast your own pumpkin and puree it or use a canned pureed pumpkin. Whole milk, brown sugar, white sugar. For the spices, I'm using ground cinnamon, ground ginger, cloves, nutmeg, salt, and ground black pepper. We'll also need large eggs. Pour the milk into a saucepot. Add the white sugar and brown sugar. Heat until the milk is warm and the sugars are melted. You don't want to boil it, you just want to heat it. The sugar's melted and the milk is hot. We can turn off the heat. Add all the spices to the pumpkin puree. Give it a mix. Whisk the eggs well. Pour the hot milk and sugar into the pumpkin. Mix until smooth. Stir in the beaten eggs. And the filling is ready. You want the filling at room temperature or a little bit warm. The pie crust is finished baking, now we can take it out of the oven. Pour the filling into the hot crust. Bake the pie at 375 degrees for 10 minutes. Don't overfill the pie because it does rise during baking and you don't want it to overflow. Leave about 3/4 of an inch space from the top. You might have a little bit of filling left. Put the filling into Ramekins and put it in the oven. Bake it along with the pie. It's been 10 minutes. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes until the pie is set, just a little bit jiggly in the middle. Let the pie cool completely before slicing. I took the Ramekins out earlier. They of course don't need as much time as the pie. We can always eat the custard while we're waiting for the pie to cool. It's really good warm. If you have the patience, let it cool to room temperature or chill it in the fridge. The filling is creamy and well spiced. The crust is buttery and flaky. I hope you like this classic pumpkin pie. If you want to be notified when I upload a new video, click on the bell icon and select all. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.